So then, we are back with the more understandings from the Renewed Covenant, from the Aramaic English translation of the Word. This translation comes from the original manuscripts of the prophets of Israel, from the prophets of Yahweh, giving us the understanding of the time of the end. And then, evaluating what the Messiah said in the Matthew, the 24th chapter, he gives us then the time of rebuilding, where the nations, they would come together and rebuild. Yeshayahu, he was the prophet of Israel many centuries ago, and he gave us 61st chapter in order for us to understand then the time of rebuilding, because the cities are returning. So then we find ourselves during this time, rather than rebuilding, a lot of countries coming together and fighting, and there is no use for it. The Messiah said precisely, and he explains then that the people would hear of wars, rumors of wars, pestilences, famines, disasters, but the time was not yet. We have not yet observed the many holy cities yet of the Hebrews, have we? No, we have not. In fact, there is none of them yet in place properly as per the time of Yohanan. So then, whatsoever these people are then fighting against each other, it's a simple skirmish. Junky skirmishes. As a person would play with firecrackers, throwing firecrackers in your neighbor's house. That's what the view of the situation is, because there is more important yet what the Messiah said, the 61st chapter of Yeshayahu, and we understand the first city is going to be in the land of Cush. As far as Gentile level involving Israel, it's a simple skirmish. Absolutely ridiculous. It's going to end up in nothing. Only waste of resources. Because the time is not yet. Don't take my word for it. We can read it. So then, Matthew was then the first gospel, where then the Messiah, he was explaining many areas of the prophets, and he had taken the time, and then obviously he was then in the temple reading, was in the tabernacle over there reading with his people. And as usual, then, he was explaining the many mysteries and the oracles. He was then emphasizing the many areas of the prophets regarding the Torah. And then the people, obviously his friends and disciples, they were there. And they want to please him, and obviously they want to make him king. They were constantly trying to make him king because he knew what he was talking about. However, the Messiah, most of the time, he refused. The only part of it he understood he was the king is regarding in the kingdom to come government. As far as this time, he was not interested in it. So then, he was speaking in the 24th chapter, and he explains then the 6th. For you are bound to hear of revolutions and rumors of wars. Watch out and do not be disturbed. For it is required that these situations must take place, but the time is not yet. Have we observed the many cities of the holy Hebrews? No. The Messiah said, go therefore around the world and form holy cities. Where are they? They are not around yet. They have some of the gatherings around, but as a city, as per the time of Yohanan, as then whatsoever Moses told you to do and observe these, do and observe, there is not. Because Yeshayahu is given us the first city. It's going to be in the land of Cush. Tabernacling amongst the fierce. That's the first city. Later, more cities. So whatsoever war goes on is a waste of resources. The time is not yet. So when you hear then the end of the world is at hand, and so on and so forth, and then Israel because threw a firecracker over there in the other country, all because it's going to be on the way. It is not. These people are lunatics. They are playing with firecrackers. The time is not yet. And retaliation is always ridiculous. The best is to work a deal with them, try to find some refund for a problem caused, then try to fight back, because fighting back is ridiculous. There is no profit in it. So try to work on a diplomatic understanding and then get some refund, some sort of a reimbursement for the problem caused. And name another person to be the militant, because the time is not yet. They can try as much as they want, but at the end it's going to be a waste of money, waste of time, waste of lives. Best for these people then, do not retaliate under any condition. Simply retrieve, conserve your resources, and then work out the problems via then the Chinese. Make a deal with China. Direct relation with China so you can rebuild your country. That's where we are at. You don't turn to your neighbor only because he has thrown a firecracker. No, observe farther away. Make a deal with China. Start thinking of your people, of your economy. Make a strong ties with China and make sure you get the proper materials to rebuild your country. And let the others then go after your example. In other words, when you take the lead, you invite China to become part of your economy, then the other countries begin to observe this person is truly want to rebuild the country. As you begin to do this consistently, then the other countries are going to become ashamed. Then they become understand they are the troublemakers, not you. So relax, take a cold shower, and make a deal with China, and begin to rebuild your country. That's the best gift they can have for their own people, and shows true leadership. Because the Creator has set this time for rebuilding. So any action taken in terms of rebuilding, it's always honored and prosperous. Because the Mashiach said the time is not yet. These means whatsoever person tries to fight back is going to be back at them, and then it's going to get worse and worse and worse. And somebody in the midst of this chaos has to be an adult, rather than kids throwing firecrackers. Some of these people in leadership, they have to then to bite their tongue. Yeah, they get angry. Bite their tongue, make a deal with China, and rebuild your country. Then ask for a reunion at the UN and propose what you were thinking. Then make a deal with China and then rebuild. That's the best course of action. If you take any other action, it's going to come against you, because the Mashiach said the time is not yet. And what the Yahweh speaks remains. Please stay tuned, much more coming up.